But this mission is going to mainly be a massive running moment, which is quite entertaining. And the second mission after this one is also going to be another chase moment, because you have to escape before the self-destruct occurs. Also, do you notice how it says Ouroboros? So this game was actually the very first game that Capcom made where they used the term Ouroboros. So I guess Resident Evil 5's Ouroboros is a reference to this game, which is surprising. A magic stone with a fierce flame demon. Adds a flame element to your attack. I think that's the first time I've ever been hit by a bat in this game. But I mentioned William Blake and V and Devil May Cry 5. See, William Blake's poems are often too easy to misunderstand if you take them literally. Like, I remember one quote that V mentions from William Blake was, "He who desires but acts not breeds pestilence." Taking that literally, it's almost like he's glamorizing or promoting criminality and acting on sexual desires like any rapist would, but that's not what William Blake is actually referring to. And I feel like the idea that they selected William Blake, a real poet like him, and then applied it to V, who eventually becomes the main antagonist. I can't help but feel like it's meant to say that V is the kind of person who would misinterpret what William Blake would say, and that misinterpretation is what gives away that he eventually will become the villain. I mean, I know it's a dead giveaway that V is probably meant to allude to Virgil, but I still feel like the William Blake thing is a more interesting angle that they probably opted for with Devil May Cry 5's V character. Also, be careful of these enemies, the Terror of Venus. They have the ability to grab you, like that, but they will kill themselves. I gotta be careful not to do that move too often, because it drains my Devil Trigger gauge. I end up doing it accidentally. Oh, he Devil Triggered. So I get what people were saying when they said that Devil May Cry 2, you use the guns a lot, but it's really no different to Devil May Cry 1 in that respect, because I use the guns a lot. And one thing that I do find better about Devil May Cry 2 compared to Devil May Cry 1 is that it feels like there's more incentive to use the different weapons provided to you. Like, there's a reason to use the shotgun, there's a reason to use the submachine gun, there's a reason to use the rocket launcher, whereas in Devil May Cry 1, you spend more time using the grenade launcher, because the grenade launcher was the most effective tool you had to balance out a lot of the game, and it was the best way to build your Devil Trigger gauge. Whereas the other weapons didn't really serve much of a purpose. I mean, you used, like, Ebony and Ivory against Griffin for, like, the ship boss fight, but because Griffin gets a health boost in his next encounter, the grenade launcher's the way to go, and there's never a need to use the shotgun aside from when you're dealing with the Sin Scissors. Every other time, you're never using the shotgun for anything else. The shotgun was definitely needed for the Sin Scissors in Devil May Cry 1, but aside from that, the shotgun really didn't have much of a purpose. Whereas in this game, there's more of an incentive to use different weapons, even if the rocket launcher is the best choice, because it's very damaging. So this guy, what he likes to do is pull you towards him by doing this move. You gotta make sure Dante is facing away from him so that he does the correct dodge. So fire 2 missiles and then just spam dodge. Do this particular dodge animation so that you don't get pulled too much. You gotta keep your distance from him. It's too dangerous to get close to him. By the way, I like this song as well. This song that's playing right now. This actually plays when you're fighting the guy with the 2 dogs. Like I said, Devil May Cry 2 has some really memorable soundtracks. This guy really wants me to get close to him, doesn't he? He's not giving me an opening to actually fire my rocket launcher at him. I gotta back up right now. That move is very dangerous. He's gonna charge me now. They give this guy way too much life on Dante Must Die difficulty. So yeah, it's simple, but I still like it. And, you know, even though the developers admitted there was trouble development, they at least didn't favor a stupid alternative like what happened with Devil May Cry 1 with a lot of the bosses, where despite that game's troubled development, they still opted for some really stupid design choices in Devil May Cry 1 with some of the bosses. Like with what they did with Mundus, and also with Griffin, and certain parts with Nilo Angelo, like with the camera and the mind-numbing gameplay with Mundus. Mundus was so badly designed you had to use untouchables to even deal with him. You know, as much as the final boss fight of Devil May Cry 2 is pretty dumb, it certainly works a lot better than with Mundus. Mundus was trash. Absolute garbage. Like, I don't think people really appreciate when a fight should be considered unfinished versus like well designed. It's really hard to communicate this point to you guys with why I'm not very harsh against some of the bosses. I mean, I'm obviously going to be very harsh against that 3-headed boss in Mission 16 because that's an absolute travesty. Also, something I forgot to mention about Devil Trigger mode in this game, if your health is extremely low, like it's in the red zone, if you activate Devil Trigger mode, you'll gain a period of invulnerability and you will deal devastating damage with your Devil Trigger attacks. And I mean devastating. You can obliterate a boss's life bar in seconds with that move, and that is how you reward risk in the process. It's so cool that they added that feature in with Devil May Cry 2, and I have no idea if the other Devil May Cry games have this whole mechanic where when you're low on health, your Devil Trigger attacks do devastating damage. It's one of the coolest design choices. And it's interesting because it offsets the increased health you've given yourself to counteract some of the poor designs with Devil May Cry 2. So you want high health, but at the same time, when you have low health and you're at the right threshold in the boss's HP, using that particular Devil Trigger mode is very, very helpful. And I'm not sure if Lucia is able to do the same with dealing devastating damage at low health while in Devil Trigger mode. But something that Devil May Cry 5 reveals is that Dante's sword has the ability to separate the demon form from the human form, just like with the Yamato. And you know how in Devil May Cry 1, you could play as the legendary demon hunter, that guy who immediately starts with like 3 devil gauges? Who is that guy? Is that supposed to be Virgil? That might be him. But if the game is classing him as the legendary demon hunter, then it would have to be Sparta, not Virgil, which confuses me. But yet, he's wielding the Yamato in Devil May Cry 1, and the Yamato seems to be the trademark sword for Virgil. So I'm not really sure about that point in Devil May Cry 1. But the Yamato, just like the Rebellion that I'm currently using right now, has the ability to separate the human form from the demon form, and Dante uses it in Devil May Cry 5 to increase his power to such a degree that he's able to take on Urizen. I think he absorbs the power in the Sparta sword when he stabbed himself with the Rebellion. I'm not entirely sure why it was so different with Rebellion compared to Yamato. And it's done. Yeah, simple boss fight, but I was at least taking the time to talk and appreciate the music as well. At times it feels like Devil May Cry 2 plays more like a Resident Evil title with the way you have to use your guns in specific situations. That's probably one of the main factors that makes it more appealing in my eyes. It's the fact that it can at times play more like an older Resident Evil title. But then again, with Devil May Cry 1, you were using the grenade launcher a lot. Man, the sword combos in Devil May Cry 1 were terrible with the way they were designed. I'm so glad Devil May Cry 2 fixed them with what I've already discussed with the command normal system. And this is the dumb part right here. So it is a pain in the ass trying to melee these orbs because of the stupid auto-aim. See? He just prioritizes this enemy for no reason. Luckily for me, I was able to position myself correctly to counteract the auto-aim. Same thing again. This is the one time hitting these orbs isn't so much of a hassle. I'm glad there's no forced combat nonsense in the middle of this chase sequence. But this is where you normally get the rocket launcher, and you have to go inside here to get the plane to go forward. But you melee this crate, and it's just there. And the game doesn't really make it clear to you that you're supposed to go through the vent. It makes it seem like you're supposed to go inside of the plane, but you're not. You have to go through the opening created by the plane when it collided with this fan. Okay, this one is another boss fight, but it starts off with this whole moment where you have to charge these 2 orbs. But you need Devil Trigger in order to do it. So you charge this one, and then the other one is opposite it. You gotta move fast, though. Very fast. You do not have much time. There we go. And at least the enemies will despawn when you get to that part, so you won't get screwed by the auto-aim. And this music is also very unusual for a Devil May Cry game. This is the part where it really feels like Tomb Raider more so than Devil May Cry, honestly. Like, does this not sound a bit odd for a Devil May Cry game to have this kind of music? I mean, it's mystifying, I get it, but I don't know, it feels out of place if you ask me. But these enemies right here, the ones that are flying, you can easily knock them over with a shotgun. See what I mean when I say that this game really encourages you to try out the different weapons? Again, remember to swap targets by pressing L3 when you're aiming. But these golems here, you have to finish them off very quickly because they have the ability to regenerate all their health if you don't finish them off fast enough. What? Why do he regenerate so fast? You're probably better off just using Devil Trigger mode once his health is low enough. There we go. So these larvae will occasionally attack you, but you just gotta jump up to avoid them. The boss itself is not gonna attack you, it's just the larvae. And once the boss is dead, you might as well just let the larvae grab you, because you can finish them off instantly when you're inside of them. This is also the same theme as the boss that has the 3 heads. And I don't know what it means when this boss spawns in those smaller maggots. Do those larvae actually grow into these larger ones? Uh-oh. Well, good thing I Devil Triggered. And they're done. So I'm just gonna let them grab me. They have to do the long-range attack in order for them to grab you. Like right now. So you have to rotate the analog stick to get out faster. It just takes too long to get rid of these larvae if you don't do the instant kill method. Just make sure you Devil Trigger occasionally so that you don't lose too much HP. There are green orbs around this arena that can definitely help. And if they don't directly grab you, they'll just knock you back like that and damage you. The other good thing about this game is that you can get Devil Gauge by just taking damage, like in other games. I don't think Devil May Cry 1 gave you Devil Gauge when you took damage. A big shame, because of the amount of times you got screwed by bullshit in Devil May Cry 1. Ooh, also, one thing, if you die in a mission, there's no kind of yellow orb stupidity or anything like that. The game actually respects checkpoints, so when you die, you restart at the last checkpoint in the mission. Great design. So if you get screwed by a bad design, you're not having to replay the entire level again or waste a yellow orb that doesn't replenish your items. You just immediately get back to the checkpoint. Wonderful design. Why is it so hard for developers to appreciate checkpoints? Just makes no sense. That was one of the stupidest design choices in Devil May Cry 1 with that yellow orb system. So instead, these gold orbs, they will actually resurrect you if you die. That's max health and max Devil Gauge, and you don't seem to get a trophy for that for some reason. Or maybe it's because I haven't gotten all the blue orb fragments. So because of how great the checkpoints are in this game, you can at least replay bosses to practice them, replay other sections to find better strategies. And at least when you die, it restores your Devil Gauge. And there's a really stupid section coming up with a bunch of Sargassos and these crystals you have to destroy, and it's one of the worst parts of the game. But if you have Devil Trigger, you can get it done very quickly because you spend more time getting fucked by the mechanics than you do actually playing the section properly. And the worst part is, when the Sargassos Devil Trigger, they gain access to this ability to spam electricity on you, and they are very aggressive. And you can't be aggressive on them because of the electricity that surrounds the arena that you're forced to move around in. It's one of the most brain-dead sections ever. This is where you can get the machine guns if you go into a side room when you jump onto a certain blue platform. You don't have to climb up this way, this is just a shortcut. You gotta time it just right so that the platforms don't disappear under you. But if you go off to that right path over there, by taking that blue path you're seeing right now, you can get the machine guns. But this is a pretty dumb boss fight coming up. It's the guy with the 2 dogs. He's apparently encountered Sparta before, but it's a really pathetic boss fight. However, in the context of Devil May Cry 2, where it's all about being aggressive and having a lot of HP and also using your resources a lot, like it is in other games, it's hard to hate it. And when you use your Devil Gauge is very important. There's still no excusing the sheer clunkiness of this encounter coming up. You know, like, your criticisms towards Devil May Cry 2 have to be a bit different given the different fundamental foundations. I mean, really, it's the same fundamental foundations as Devil May Cry 1, only I feel like they actually took those fundamental foundations into account when they decided to add the ability to heal while you're Devil Triggered, and also give you as many weapons as you get, and also give you the Devil Trigger ability that allows you to deal massive amounts of damage when you're low on health, and other designs, like with the amount of damage you take from the enemies. It makes sense. I understand the designs put in place for Devil May Cry 2 to counteract the fact that this game had clunky mechanics and rushed productions, but, you know, Understandable. I'm locked onto the wrong thing. God damn it. The stupid dog pushed him out of the way as it was trying to attack me. That spear he uses has tremendous range. If you do not dodge, you will never avoid it. I gotta get to the other side. This is getting a bit hairy. Okay, good thing I used that. So, that movie just did, he gets iframes, because he's shielded for some reason. I don't really know why, but if you do not see his health depleting when you're shooting him, it means he's most likely doing that move. I gotta get him over to this side right now. He's really being a nuisance. And these dogs keep blocking my shot. But that's what they're there for. The dogs are meant to be a nuisance. That's the point. And in the context of Devil May Cry 2's fundamental systems, I can totally understand that. With the way the healing is, and with the way the health works, one Dante must die. Totally understandable, but, you know, it was fun, but it's still badly designed. Because the room, you get screwed so much by the wall running every time you're trying to dodge. And he just stun locks you to death a lot of the times. In fact, you're not even meant to melee him because he has access to this one-frame attack where he just immediately thrusts at you multiple times and stun locks you. Like, there's a lot of moves that the enemies do that stun lock you, and it's almost like they want you to use the Devil Trigger mode to bypass the stun lock because you can't get flinched while you're in Devil Trigger mode. And oh shoot, I just realized I don't have any Devil Gauge. So this room is going to be a pain in the ass. I might have to kill myself here in order to actually get my Devil Gauge back. Because the only way to destroy these crystals is to do the slam on them, or to just slash at them with your sword when you're in Devil Trigger mode. And watch the edges of the arena. You're limited to a very small space. If you touch the edge of the arena, you will take electricity damage. It's so clunky. This is like Devil May Cry 1 levels of clunky right now. And see, they've Devil Triggered, so they're going to be way more aggressive, and they also have that. That is so awkward to avoid. That stupid electricity move they do. Look at, I'm getting stun locked to death right now, but I have some Devil Trigger gauge. I gotta move very fast here, otherwise I'm screwed. And I can't move. I could not move. What the hell is going on? I was stuck. He was literally just standing in the air, frozen, not doing anything, and I died. So I had to revive myself. It's automatic. Like, it's so retarded. That's one of the worst sections ever in a Devil May Cry game. It's like Devil May Cry 1 stupidity right there. Like when you're dealing with those death sights without using air raid. Or when you're dealing with the death scissors and you're just getting stun locked by them constantly. What an atrocious section. That is so bad. You fight the mechanics all the time. You fight the stupid auto aim on Dante's melee. He keeps prioritizing the Sargassos when you want him to prioritize the crystals. And the crystals can only be destroyed with sword attacks. And you have to deal with this incredibly small arena that's constantly moving all the time. And so you end up touching the edges of the arena. And it's so small, you can get screwed by bad hit detection as well. It is so clunky. That's why oftentimes you have to kill yourself to get Devil Trigger gauge back, so that you can at least fly in the air and stay near the crystals and melee them as they're coming towards you. I have no idea what they were thinking with that stupid part. You fight this boss twice as Lucia, but you're free to go up and melee him. It's actually very simple to dodge him. He needs enemies to support him, unfortunately. Yeah, Devil Trigger just isn't as effective as the rocket launcher. He's blocking right now, so I gotta wait. He's still blocking again, because he loves to spam that move. Man, he has a lot of life. So yeah, it's either this kind of simple boss, or a broken boss that gives the illusion that it's hard. It creates fake difficulty in that sense. I mean, I know people criticize the bosses in Devil May Cry 2, but in my case, I would take this rather than a broken boss any day that gives the illusion that it's supposedly difficult. That's exactly how overrated Devil May Cry 1 was, with the bosses being considered difficult, when in actuality they were just very broken and badly thought out with their designs. It's a problem with a lot of these games from the early 2000s era. I mean, I don't know why people hype up these games from the 2000s era. They're hardly ever good. They normally embrace very poor designs to give the illusion of difficulty. I feel like after Resident Evil 4 release, gaming really changed for the better with the standards that Resident Evil 4 introduced. Not always. There were games that were still pretty crap even after Resident Evil 4 released, and they still embrace really poor designs. I look at some of the Ninja Gaiden games as well. But it's either this or a broken boss that gives the illusion of difficulty. I know exactly what I would pick. Like, really the only boss from Devil May Cry 1 that was decent was Nilo Angelo, like I just explained. Every other boss had far too many poor designs. Phantom was a stupid boss fight, and I even saw the speedrun, and the guy did nothing but slams. And he slammed his tail and his body as well to double his damage. And he was just using really stupid methods to cheese him. And Griffin is just a badly thought out encounter with the way you fight the auto-aim and the structure of the ship just getting in the way of proper gameplay. The times when Dante refuses to climb properly. And other poor foundations as well, with like Mundus and... Nightmare was okay, but he just had way too much life. And Nightmare 3 was garbage. Nightmare 3 was just so tedious. Also, do not melee Arius here, or Arias, or whatever the pronunciation is. If you melee him and knock him off, he'll recover faster. Whereas when I'm firing the missile launcher at him, he doesn't recover. He doesn't try to get off from the spot, so I can just get free hits on him. I keep doing the wall run on accident when I'm trying to do the dodge. This is why you don't tie the dodge and the wall run to the same button. And he's done. I mean, he's still alive, but this fight is done. You know, I like the fact that there are these mission-specific bosses. They make an entire mission just for the boss, so you can always just go to the mission select the mission, and just fight the boss. You don't have to waste time with tedious gameplay, like with Devil May Cry 1. Okay, for this part, we just have to charge a bunch of orbs. The orbs are always in the same locations for Dante, and the same locations for Lucia. This is such a dumb location to put an orb. You have to be in Devil Trigger mode to effectively hit this thing without having to rely upon these ground slams. And they're just reusing assets here. I don't know why we're in this particular area again. You just went from a city environment back to this outdated city environment. Not really sure what the story reason for that is, because I skip all the cutscenes. And the wall run is not very good when you have these like curves in the wall, or it's not like perfectly straight. So it just fails a lot, and I can't hit the orb until these enemies are dead because of the stupid soft lock. Okay, they despawn for some reason. What was that about? Why'd they despawn? I've never seen that before. Did I just discover some kind of exploit? That's very weird. Oh, now they respawned. That's odd. And here's yet another situation where I can't just simply melee the orb because of the stupid soft lock. And there's a whole bunch of enemies here. Another one? God, they spawn in way too many enemies in this part. Seriously? And the auto-aim just screwed me. I don't know why it gets unstable when they're suddenly transforming and just standing up. Again, that should have been a kill, but instead he just gets back up and he's regenerated all his health because the rocket launcher is apparently slow enough that he's able to just regenerate. Makes no sense. It's such a stupid justification for killing them, simply because of this stupid auto-aim. I do not get it. I really do not get it. But I think this is what you're supposed to do, but it's just really awkward. Because your height really matters in making sure your hits are connecting. And then this is the boss fight with Phantom. I don't know why Phantom returns when he was supposed to be dead in Devil May Cry 1. I'm surprised Phantom didn't return in Devil May Cry 5 if they're going to be using him this many times. He's just blocking continuously. Yeah, Phantom also has this ability to shake you off, and at least jumping on Phantom actually works compared to Devil May Cry 1. Jumping on Phantom was just so awkward, because the collision detection was badly programmed in Devil May Cry 1. Yeah, but it really feels like Phantom was designed more for Devil May Cry 2's system than in Devil May Cry 1. Like the dodge system, the way you just jump on top of him, and he has his tail out, so he's gonna attack me. Oh, Meteor Strike. Like, this is a dodge system that is perfectly befitting for Phantom's moves, not like in Devil May Cry 1. At least they put him into an open environment compared to the first fight with him. And he's got me. But at least the grabs don't do a lot of damage, thank God. Phantom is actually the most dangerous weak spot on Argosax, who's the final boss of this game. And it's because of his pillar move. And that was a grab right there. Devil Trigger is very effective against him. Here comes a pillar move. Easy to avoid. But you do have to dodge, you can't just simply move. They really stress upon dodging in this game. His head is exposed when he's jumping like this. You can easily hit him with Devil Trigger then. As much as this is a simple fight, I'd much prefer this Phantom than the one in Devil May Cry 1. Phantom was so badly designed in Devil May Cry 1. So badly designed, you had to spam jump attacks on him in order to kill him properly. But he really loves spamming this pillar move, and that failed. This web right over here, there's apparently a way to open it. And I don't know how you do it. The web I'm standing on right now, how do you open this? I'm not really sure. He has so much life. It's so unnecessary. How many times is he gonna keep spamming that move? Finally! That was so silly. At least it works better than the first Phantom fight, but he just has too much life. But this mission isn't really much. There's just a bunch of enemies coming at you while this portal is opening. I don't really understand how this mission ends. It's like you have to repeat this 3 times, but there's like a time limit, so I don't know if you have the ability to end this mission quickly if you just finish off the enemies very quickly. Because it feels like you have to do 3 waves in order for this to work. See what I mean? It's better to use the rocket launcher on them when they're devil triggered, because they can't flinch. Really should be using my sword more. Well, doesn't matter now because they're devil triggered. But they're gonna despawn when the time runs out. Again, I don't know if you can end the mission on this wave. It feels like you have to do 3 waves. It doesn't really make sense how this works. It's kind of nice that the enemies have different colors when they devil trigger. So it gives more variety to the coloration of the devil trigger. That's definitely the most efficient combo I've found. So that 5-hit combo, you end with an air launcher that puts you into the air, and then you hold R1 and tap triangle a couple of times. The best combo I've gotten so far. What is this fire effect doing exactly? Is it actually stunning them a bit more efficiently? Or is it just doing more damage? You know, I totally realized the electric heart and also this fire core, they're meant to mimic Ifrit and Alastor. So it's like you have both of those weapon effects applied to your swords. So it's like that. I'm guessing that's why they put those in. Well, trying to limit you to just the sword. Yeah, but that's done. But like I said, it just feels like you have to get to the third wave in order to end it properly. Okay, but mission 16 is where the worst boss of the game is coming. But this layout to this room is going to change when we get these sacrilege items. When we get the sacrilege items. Now this room here, if you get hit by these orbs, you get transported to a fight arena, so try to avoid that. Well. Oh! And I knew I was gonna regret saying that. I knew I was gonna jinx it right there. Oh, what? We have to do this again? Yeah, it's normally very easy to avoid these orbs. You just hug the side that I hugged. And I don't know if the wall run can actually be used to bypass the collision between yourself and the orb, because it's felt like that a couple of times. But you have to go this way now, and the layout of the area is entirely different. And you have another boss here, which is the same boss that you fought with the two dogs. This one is pretty obnoxious. And really I should be building up my devil gauge before I take on this boss. Because it's a pretty dumb boss fight, but at the same time, it's kind of made for your devil trigger mode, specifically. With the healing and other things. This is gonna get really dicey. Jump immediately, because he will attack you. He's gonna... Oh, watch out! Yep. So, did you notice how his health bar stopped flickering? Because he wasn't taking any damage? That means he's doing the thrust move that gives him invulnerability. Gotta get to distance right now. Don't mind the range attacks that he throws. They're not that bad. He's too close, I gotta move. Stop wall running, dude. He's charging. Yep, saw that coming, because again, he wasn't taking damage. Whoa! Oh, come on. He fainted me out, and... Again, don't get close to him, because he's not designed for melee combat in the slightest because of his one-frame attacks. Shouldn't have used up so much double gauge. I need that as a backup. Don't bother going for the wolves, by the way. They have way too much life. Range attack. Oh, shit. Yeah, see, that's unavoidable. It has so much range, and it's completely unavoidable unless you dodge. And I keep getting screwed by the goddamn wall run. But again, as long as he's damaging me, I'm regaining devil gauge. Okay, good thing I avoided that. And the reason why you use the machine guns against him is to know when he's going to be invulnerable. He's invulnerable right now. See, it's a lot easier to tell when he's invulnerable when you're using the machine guns. And also, by the way, if you're trying to do like the forward dodge that gives you more range, I recommend like keeping your aim on the target, but then jumping. Because Dante, when he jumps towards the direction you're going. Like, he actually turns into the direction you're going towards. So try to jump instead of dodging when you're trying to get away from a target. Ow. He's invulnerable. Jump. Do not dodge. Jump. Jump. Oh, shit. He is so good at catching you with that thrust move if you dodge. Invulnerability. More invulnerability. 3 times in a row he spammed that thrust move. I'm still not sure if the jump gives you iframes, like in Devil May Cry 1. I mean, that time I didn't take any damage, but I don't know if that's just because of awkward hit detection or because I genuinely got iframes when I jumped. Okay. He's invulnerable right now. See, this is the move, this is the move. This is why you never want to engage in melee combat. It's because of that 1-frame thrust that just stun locks you to death. It's so dumb. He's invulnerable again. Invulnerable again. He just loves doing that. He might as well do nothing but that move, and I'll never damage him. So obnoxious. Again. Stupid invulnerability. Oh god. Oh! Again with the stupid invulnerability. I don't know why that move gives him iframes, it's so odd. Well, the good thing about this fight on Dante Must Die is that he doesn't have the ability to block your attacks, aside from that iframe move. But on the other difficulties, he has a dedicated block animation to block your bullets. But on Dante Must Die, he doesn't have that, aside from his iframe move. There we go. Like, it's a really silly fight, but it's hard to harp on it when you have the right upgrades. Like, when you choose to use Devil Trigger is very important for not only damaging him, but also healing yourself. It's like strategic healing in that sense. And of course, when you're low on health and you activate Devil Trigger, you can demolish his HP, which is really good design for rewarding that kind of a risky playstyle. But now we're coming across a boss that's even worse. This is the worst boss of the game by far. And I still haven't encountered the final boss of Lucia's campaign yet on Dante Must Die, so for all I know, Arius could be worse than this guy, but this boss coming up is horrible. I mean, the dodge works, but the number of times you get put into positions where you're unable to dodge certain attacks, and you have to take damage, unfortunately, is just obnoxious. This is so bad, but I recommend keeping your missile launcher out, but also, in order to check which is the correct head, it's best you have your submachine guns out so that when you're swapping targets, you're constantly hitting the heads with hit scan based weapons. So as long as you can tell which head is decreasing the HP, that's the head you've got to prioritize, and you have to hold R1 the entire time. But as soon as you recognize the correct head, you've got to keep your missile launcher out so you can deal more damage. Devil Trigger just isn't good enough against this boss. He has so much HP, unless you use the rocket launcher. So keep holding R1 the entire time. Check which head it is. Okay, it's the red head. Oh, whoops. I pressed the wrong button. I'm dodging incorrectly. This is what you gotta do. Like, dodge backwards for this move. Like, do the full animation. Go left, right, left, right, left, right. That's how you want to avoid these attacks. You have to really mash that dodge button to survive. This is the worst move. Because going left to right while dodging does not help in avoiding those ice shards. Yeah, but you are at the mercy of the dodge system right here, because at times Dante will do the incorrect dodge if you're not aiming at the right target, or the target has moved into an awkward position. You can also hit the heads with your sword and it does a lot of damage, but it's hard to put yourself in that position. Especially if you don't get a favorable head. See, you can't just go left to right to avoid this move. It's physically impossible to avoid unless you jump. But even when jumping, you still get hit easily. And if he does that Ice Shard move at the wrong time, while you're busy dodging other attacks, you're going to get hit every single time. It's physically impossible to avoid it. And again, make sure you're going left to right. Going any other direction and not alternating is bad news. But you have to wait until one of the heads attacks, and then you gotta use your missile launcher. Preferably when the electric head is firing at a distance. That's the best time to shoot the head. Okay, but I gotta get rid of these ice shards. Or I can just swap targets like that. Time your dodge correctly. There we go. Here we go again. The same redhead, wow. Again, do not let go of R1. If you let go, it'll be a problem. Trying to re-engage the lock. It's just better to jump to avoid these ice shards, like from left to right. Keep going, keep going, keep going. It takes them so long to join together again so that you can actually get more hits on them. You spend so little time actually damaging them. You'll be dodging endlessly, and it's just so dumb. Like, this boss just doesn't give enough openings, and the times where he just hits you through a cheap manner, it's really obnoxious. And again, just don't even try to attack him when he does his Ice Shard move. I recommend keeping one Icicle left standing so that he doesn't do this Icicle move. Oh god! I could have easily been hit by the electricity just then. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Left, right, left, right. I mean, it looks cool seeing Dante do all this, but when you're doing it for this long, it's just... you can't get an opening. Ah, I mistimed it. That's very easy to mistime. The same redhead again? This is like the best RNG I've gotten. Again, dodge 3 times. Dodge 3 times again. Shoot. Whoa. Unfortunately, I didn't leave one Ice Shard standing. That did a lot of damage with the sword. It's definitely what you want to be using when you have the right head. Assuming you have the fire head, hitting the electrical one is tricky. And of course, if the fire head is not right next to you, that's a problem. So there was no way I could hit him with my sword just then. But I'm doing a much better job at surviving, but I've died like 3 times against this boss in certain cases. It's nice that the electricity and fire attacks are timed just right to allow the dodge to work properly with going left to right. So nice bit of programming on the developer's part. The timing of the electricity and the fire moves is just right, that it fits the rhythm of the dodge, so you never get hit in a cheap manner. It's just when the ice shard move happens, that's when it becomes a big issue. Again, that's the one opportunity I have to hit that head when he does the electricity. Especially at the back of the arena when you're trying to avoid that move. Okay, I have only one shard. Not that head, that head. That ice move he does at close range, he always tends to miss you, unless he gets really close to you. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. If you get stun locked, make sure you activate double trigger mode. That fire move will constantly stun lock you. Same with the electricity one and the shard one. So if you're in a position where you're going to get hit through a cheap manner, you've got the double trigger to get the hyper armor active. See, again, the moves are properly coordinated so that they don't interfere with your dodging, which is nice, except for the ice shard, of course. So you can hit the ice shards out of the air, but that's only with the missile launcher, it seems. I don't know how effective the shotgun is, for example. Jesus Christ, go down. He's on his last legs. So you can't actually kill him. You have to wait for him to do the attack and then he just magically dies. There we go. Now he's dead. So at least I got it on my first try. But at times, it might take you like 1, 2, or 3 tries when dealing with him. It's a really stupid boss fight. And it's definitely the worst boss of the game by far.